नमस्ते हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया। I am JV and Dr. Minakshi, Assistant Professor in Department of Shalakya Tantra, Faculty of Ayurvedic Science, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. In the previous sessions, we discussed the pathology of the localized corneal ulcer, in which we studied the various stages of pathology, the stage of infiltration, stage of active ulceration, stage of regression, and stage of the cicatrization. And in this session, we will study the pathology of the perforated corneal ulcer. The perforation of the corneal ulcer occurs when the ulcerative process deepens and reaches to the Descemet's membrane. This membrane is tough and bulges out as descemetocele. At this stage, any exertion on the part of patient, such as coughing, sneezing, straining for stool, etc., will perforate the corneal ulcer. Immediately after perforation, the aqueous escapes, intraocular pressure falls, and the iris lens diaphragm moves forward. Here is an image of the descemetocele. This is a diagrammatic depiction in which they have seen the ulceration had deepened to the Descemet's membrane. As the Descemet membrane is tough, it will move out, it will bulge out. So there is a bulge in the cornea, and it will look like this. It is a clinical photograph of descemetocele. So the iris lens diaphragm moves forward. The effects of perforation depend upon the position and the size of perforation. When the perforation is small and opposite to the iris tissue, it is usually plugged and healing by cicatrization proceeds rapidly. The adherent leucoma is the commonest end result after such a catastrophe. The next is the pathology of the sloughing corneal ulcer and the formation of the anterior staphyloma. When the infective agent is highly virulent and or the body resistance is very low, the whole cornea sloughs with the exception of a narrow rim at the margin, and the total prolapse of the iris occurs. The iris becomes inflamed and exudates block the pupil and cover the iris surface. Thus, a false cornea is formed. In this, they have shown the prolapse of the iris after perforation of corneal ulcer. First is the diagrammatic representation in which they have shown that at the region of the iris there is a total perforation of the cornea. The whole depth of the cornea is perforated, so there will be the prolapse of iris at this region. It is a clinical photograph of perforated corneal ulcer with prolapse of iris. So ultimately, these exudates organize and form a thin fibrous layer over which the conjunctival or corneal epithelium rapidly grows, and thus a pseudocornea is formed. Since the pseudocornea is thin and cannot withstand the intraocular pressure, so it usually bulges forward along with the plastered iris tissue. And this ectatic cicatrix is called the anterior staphyloma, which, depending upon its extent, may be either partial or total. The bands of scar tissue on the staphyloma vary in breadth and thickness, producing a lobulated surface often blackened with the iris tissue which resembles a bunch of black grapes, hence the name staphyloma. So here we have discussed the pathology of the perforated corneal ulcer. We will give a quick revision to it. And there was a when the ulcerative process deepens to the descemet's membrane, the descemet membrane which is tough, it bulges out, and on exertion of the patient, it may perforate. The corneal ulcer may perforate. After perforation, the aqueous humor will escape, the intraocular pressure will fall, and the iris diaphragm which will move forward. Then even on the effect of perforation depending upon the position and size of perforation, if there is a small perforation opposite to iris tissue, it is usually plugged and healing by cicatrization proceeds rapidly. Adherent lipoma is the commonest end result, and pathology of fluxing corneal ulcer. Whole cornea sloughs out with the exception of a narrow rim at the margin. There will be total prolapse of the iris. And exudates block the pupil. There will be a false cornea will be formed. A pseudocornea is formed when a fibrous layer is formed with the conjunctival corneal epithelium rapidly grows. Then the anterior staphyloma is formed. So this session completes here. In next session, we will discuss the rest part of the corneal ulcer. Thank you so much. This session is powered by digital version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you so much. अनाथ में फाइबर में हमने 3 लेयर्स करी थी. आउटर मोस्ट लेयर फाइबरस लेयर होती है, फिर होती है मिडिल लेयर, फिर होती है इसमें इनर मोस्ट लेयर. तो जो मिडिल लेयर है वो होती है यूविया. ठीक है, उसमें 3 चीजें आती हैं, आइरिस, सिलेरी बॉडी एंड कोरोइड. तो उसमें पहला स्ट्रक्चर है आपका आइरिस. तो पहले व्हाट इज यूविया? यूवियल टिश्यू ये जानना बहुत जरूरी है. यूविया इज द मिडिल वेस्कुलर कोट ऑफ eyeball. From anterior to posterior, the uvea or uveal tract can be divided into 3 parts: iris, ciliary body and choroid. ठीक है, तो आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे आइरिस. आइरिस इज द anterior-most part of the uveal tract. It is a thin and circular structure which forms a diaphragm-like structure in front of the crystalline lens. The word iris has originated from a Greek word. In Greek mythology, the iris is the name of Greek goddess of the rainbow. The diaphragm formed by the iris contains a central aperture known as pupil. The location of the pupil is not exactly central. It's little nasal to the center. The pupil determines the amount of light entering the eye. The normal size of pupillary aperture is 3 to 4 mm. Here is an image of the eyeball where they are shown the sclera, limbus, pupil, iris. The brown portion is the iris. And iris is attached to the middle of anterior surface of ciliary body. The iris divides the space in front of the lens into anterior chamber and posterior chamber. ठीक है, तो आइरिस क्या कर रहा है? 2 चैम्बर्स में डिवाइड कर रहा है, एंटीरियर चैम्बर और पोस्टीरियर चैम्बर में. ठीक है, तो लेंस के आगे का स्पेस 2 चैम्बर्स में डिवाइड हो गया है. फिर आते हैं सेगमेंट्स और चैम्बर्स ऑफ आईबॉल. तो 2 सेगमेंट्स होती हैं, एंटीरियर सेगमेंट एंड पोस्टीरियर सेगमेंट. एंटीरियर सेगमेंट में आपके आता है लेंस, आइरिस, कॉर्निया, एंटीरियर एंड पोस्टीरियर चैम्बर्स. फिर है पोस्टीरियर सेगमेंट, इसमें आते हैं आपके विट्रस, रेटिना, कोरोइड एंड ऑप्टिक डिस्क. फिर एंटीरियर सेगमेंट में 2 चैम्बर्स होते हैं, एंटीरियर चैम्बर एंड पोस्टीरियर चैम्बर. Anterior chamber is bounded anteriorly by the back of cornea, bounded posteriorly by the iris and part of ciliary body. About 2.5 mm deep in the center in normal adults, and it is shallower in hypermetropes and deeper in myopes. It contains about 0.25 ml of the aqueous humor. The second chamber is the posterior chamber. It is bounded anteriorly by the posterior surface of iris and the part of ciliary body, posteriorly by the crystalline lens and its zonules, and laterally by the ciliary body. जो एंटीरियर सरफेस ऑफ आइरिस को हम डिवाइड कर सकते हैं पिपलरी जोन और सिलियरी जोन में. दोनों के बीच में एक रिच प्रेजेंट होती है, सर्कुलर रिच, ठीक है, जो पिपलरी मार्जिन से 1.5 mm के डिस्टेंस पे होती है. उसको बोलते हैं हम कोरोलेट. ठीक है, तो कोरोलेट डिवाइड करता है आइरिस को सिलियरी रीजन और पिपलरी रीजन में. ठीक है, और कोरोलेट को आइरिस फ्रिल भी बोलते हैं. फिर आता है मैक्रोस्कोपिक अपीयरेंस. मैक्रोस्कोपिक में आपके दो सरफेस होते हैं, एंटीरियर सरफेस एंड पोस्टीरियर सरफेस. पोस्टीरियर सरफेस आपको क्लिनिकली विजिबल नहीं होता है, एंटीरियर सरफेस में विजिबल है, तो इसलिए ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट एंटीरियर सरफेस होता है. उसमें आपको कॉर्डेट दिखाई देगा, which is a zigzag line 2 mm from pupil and is thickest, and it represents the attachment of pupillary membrane. The correlate divide करता है iris को ciliary zone pupillary zone में. The ciliary zone has the radial streaks and the crypts. They are peripheral near the iris and central near the correlate. एक contraction furrow present होती है with faint lines outside the correlate. A second zone is a pupillary zone, which is between correlate and pigmented frill. What is pigmented frill? It is a black pigment at pupillary margin, and it represents the anterior end of optic cup. So here is an image. इसमें आपको दिखाई दे रहा है pupillary zone, ciliary zone, crypts दिखाई दे रहे हैं, ठीक है, peripheral crypt दिखाई दे रहे हैं, इसमें आपको correlate दिखाई दे रहा है, ठीक है, pigmented frill दिखाई दे रही है, ठीक है, कंट्रैक्शन फरोज आपको विजिबल है, ठीक है. ये आपको लेयर्स दिखाई दे रही हैं, इसमें अलग अलग लेयर्स ऑफ आइरिस, लेयर्स ऑफ सिलियरी बॉडी दिखाई दे रही है. आइस का स्ट्रक्चर सब इजीली क्लियरली दिखाई दे रहा है आपको. तो माइक्रोस्कोपिक स्ट्रक्चर की बात करें, आइरिस के लिए 4 लेयर्स प्रेजेंट होती हैं. एक तो होती है एंटीरियर लिमिटिंग लेयर और आइरिस स्ट्रोमा, फिर एंटीरियर एपिथेलियल लेयर और फोर्थ वन इज पोस्टीरियर पिगमेंटेड एपिथेलियल लेयर. ठीक है, एंटीरियर लिमिटिंग लेयर कंसिस्ट मेलनोसाइट्स एंड फाइब्रोब्लास्ट, previously called endothelial layer. Color of iris depends on this layer. Blue iris है, then thin layer and few pigment cells. Brown iris होती है when there is thick and doubly pigmented cells. Second layer is the iris stroma. It forms a main bulb, consists of collagenous tissue with mucopolysaccharide. Structures embedded are the sphincter pupillae, which is a 1 mm broad circular band in pupillary area derived by ectoderm. It is supplied by parasympathetic fibers where third nerve contracts pupil. Here in this image you can see the dilator pupillae and sphincter pupillae also. So what is the dilator pupillae? It lies in the posterior part of the ciliary zone and it is supplied by the cervicosympathetics, dilates the pupil. The vessels form the bulk of stroma. There are radial vessels, which are the branches of circulus anterior osseous major. The peculiarities are the absence of IEL and non-fenestrated capillary endothelium. Pigment cells are present in this layer, which are melanocytes and lymphocytes, fibroblasts and macrophages are also present in this layer. Third layer is the anterior epithelium layer. It is the anterior continuation of the pigment epithelium of retina and ciliary body. It lacks the melanocytes. The basal processes of the anterior epithelial layer give rise to the dilator pupillae. The fourth layer of iris is the posterior pigmented epithelial layer. It is the anterior continuation of the non-pigmented epithelium of ciliary body. And this posterior pigmented epithelium layer is derived from the internal layer of optic cup, and this layer forms the pigmented frill. Then last thing is the functions of iris. It controls the amount of light entering the eye through pupil. It defines the eye color. It controls the depth of field and sources of it is a source of blood ocular tissues. So here the session completes. Thank you so much. This session is powered by digital version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box. I will resolve it soon. Thank you so much.